Hello everyone, welcome back to Extra Christian History, the part of the show where I talk about the things that I got wrong in my videos, some that I intentionally made, others I didn't, and, well, talk about the videos themselves. Thank you so much to my patrons for voting on these topics. I really enjoyed researching and making these two videos, and as a side, it's only two videos this time since I did 4 videos the last Extra Christian History video I made. I got an announcement at the end of this video, but let's just jump right in. The Third Servile War, otherwise known as Spartacus's Rebellion. I was so eager to do this video because it's one of my most favorite topics to learn about and read about. One of several men who came close to defying the Roman Empire, and while I'm not like the person who does not like Napoleon, I love studying Roman history, but I'm just fascinated at the fact that very few came so close to breaking the Roman Empire, and that's what really fascinates me. And I have seen both the Mondo cartoon version of Spartacus as well as the 2010 to 2013 TV series on Spartacus. And both TV series, as what history says, they weren't as historically accurate. I was disappointed on that. And while a TV series nowadays is designed to show what happened in history, but also to create the reasons behind what happened in history or other things that happened but history doesn't say, like with the Chosen series, which I am very fond of. What I was really unhappy about is the fact that the Mondo TV series focuses on Spartacus, and as I recall, it doesn't mention Crixus at all, or really any other of his commanders. I'm really disappointed in how the fact that both of the series don't show Spartacus's wife at all, while in the cartoon series shows him having an affair and a baby with one wife, a former slave. Historically, Spartacus had a wife before he was captured by the Romans and while he was enslaved. The live-action TV series, it shows Crixus's death, the third to last episode, and I was really disappointed in that ending for Crixus because he died like early on to midway in Spartacus's life, in his rebellion. Speaking of which, I also saw the 1960 Kirk Douglas film on Spartacus, and don't get me wrong, the cartoon series, the TV series, live-action TV series, and the movie, they're good overall, but what I found even more historically inaccurate is that in the movie, Pompey the Great takes part in the battle, but in reality, he didn't. So I've been disappointed with the Spartacus franchise, let's call it the overall franchise. I've just been disappointed that it's historically inaccurate completely. But something I really like is how the live-action series ends their show with Spartacus dying off the battlefield, but his 3,000 survivors managed to flee from the battlefield and escape across the mountain. Personally, the most historically accurate live-action version of Spartacus is the 2004 miniseries on Spartacus. And what I really like is that it shows how Spartacus was in the melee, but they don't show him dying. That's what I really like about the series. While, of course, in the movie, it's historically wrong, but the overall point is it's more accurate. It does focus on Spartacus, but it also shows how Crixus died. All right, time for the big one. Christian history, the Old Testament. I really truly enjoyed making this video more than the French and Indian War video that I talked about last time. So in any case, let's dive in. Since this is the longest video I ever did, I am going to break it down chapter by chapter. So this is how I structured my video. I decided to organize the beginning of my video, since this is the Bible and the first part of the Bible is the 7 days of creation. The next part in Genesis is primeval history. So of course there are the theorists who believe that the earth is 1 billion years old because of the Big Bang theory. Personally, I don't believe that the earth is billions of years old. I believe it's only 7,000 at the recording date of this video. So I started off with the 7 days of creation, which any Christian who believes in God can wrap their mind around. And so I want to say this up front. All of the dates, the years that I put in my video, I personally calculated them. I didn't copy anyone else. According to what the Bible says, in this year, according to how old Adam was, that's when the race of man began. Based on the age of man, that's what I calculated to all my dates on. Genesis is divided into 2 parts. Primeval history, the 7 days of creation, up until a certain time, and then the rest of it is patriarchal history. A patriarch is the father of a family. Mother is a matriarch, just for anyone who's wondering. But in any case, I don't want to spoil a future video, but in any case, the point what I'm trying to make is I followed the line of Abraham and the calculations based on that. Yes, I included the Akkadian Empire and possibly when it existed, but if I got that wrong, that's on me. I'm sorry about that. So the reason I started with that is to show a specific series of events that what led to what the Bible says. I'm just going to be straightforward with you on this. As a Christian, I believe that the Bible is very accurate in what it teaches, but I understand for those who argue that the Bible is completely accurate overall. Let me just put this into your perspective. If you call the Bible a history book, which there's a lot of history in the Bible, if the Bible was a history book, there would already be the dates of when these kings reigned and how long the reigns lasted from. How old were they when they died, what month it was in. God would have told the writers of the Bible to write that stuff in, but it's not a history book. So I'm just saying that up front. That's why I did the calculations myself. So yes, I am also a flat earth theorist. That's what I believe, that the earth is flat, that there is a dome above the earth, that the earth is flat. I believe all that. But I'm just saying, if you look at an airplane route, it's easier to go from one straight place to I'm a flat earth theory. That I just put that out there. I'm not trying to step on anyone's toes. I'm a flat earth theorist. That's what I believe in. I believe in this flat earth, and just saying that. All right, so let's move on to the next chapter, Exodus. And here's something I didn't put in the video. Hebrew is originated as an Egyptian term. The definition of Hebrew is someone who is different or separate from you. So in this case, the reason the Egyptians called Abraham's descendants, Israel's descendants, Hebrews, is because they worshipped one God, which was different or separate from the Egyptians who worshipped, a lot of gods. In any case, that's what I forgot to put in the video. Sorry about that. In any case, how do we know that it was Thutmose III or Thutmose the Great? How do we know that he was the pharaoh at the time of Moses leading the Hebrews out of Egypt? Truth is, we don't. In any case, I just lined up my calculations and then lined up the reign of each pharaoh at this specific time. And I was like, well, it's Thutmose III, no doubt about it. And I was like, that's what I'm going with. While the movies and TV shows talk about how it was a pharaoh named Ramses who was the pharaoh at the time, historically that doesn't make sense. A lot of times people thought it was Ramses the Great, Ramses II, but according to my calculations and what history says, it's not. It doesn't make sense because, look, if anyone's called the Great, they would not want their historians or in their historical texts them losing at least over 1 million people. And slaves, no less. Slaves. 1 million slaves leaving the country. Over 1 million people, maybe 2 million, leaving the country into the desert. No pharaoh or king or president would want that unless they were deporting them. So there's one more piece of evidence that backs up what I'm saying. So it is fact that Thutmose wiped his ancestor, the adoptive mother of Moses. He wiped her from history, or tried to. He tried to wipe her from history. And if he tried to do this, what better reason for believing that he also did it with the Hebrews leaving the country and the Bible being the only record of it? To add insult to injury, the Bible also states that the Pharaoh chased the Hebrews with 10,000 men, specifically charioteers. If you have ever watched Extra History and their video on the Bronze Age collapse, you would learn that the charioteer was the best piece of military technology that there was at the time. Every society at the time had some sort of military use of charioteers. That's what part of what their army was based off of. So losing 10,000 charioteers was a disaster. And let's not forget this. When Ramses the Great fought that famous battle of Kadesh, he had an army of 20,000. It takes years for a charioteer to be trained fully enough that he can handle himself while fighting on a chariot. So to lose that many men at once, that also explains why there weren't that many campaigns outside of Egypt's home territory because of those losses. Let's go to the next chapter. So I'm going to skip Joshua and talk about Judges. So the book of Judges covers roughly 250 years of history. I had to look up these calculations, and they basically confirm what other calculations have agreed on, and I've used them in this video. So roughly for a quarter of a millennium, the Hebrews, now the Israelites, because they have land, were locked in wars with the surrounding nations, like I said in the video. And the only reason the famous Battle of Kadesh was fought between the Hittites and the Egyptians was for the trade routes that Canaan was the land to go to if you wanted to travel from Europe to Asia, from Asia to Egypt, and from Egypt to Europe. It was the perfect way station, and that's why God chose that specific land, the land of Canaan. I'm going to skip over the chapters on King Saul, King David, and King Solomon, just because there's so much I could talk about. So after the divided nation, Israel and Judea, I want to talk about a specific point. Why was King Ahaz's alliance with the king of Assyria against the wishes of God? Let me simplify this explanation. So, overall, this wasn't quite against the wishes of God. That was just a simplification. An oversimplification answer is, at the time of King Ahaz's reign, the northern kingdom of Israel and the kingdom of Aram allied, ironically, after the prophet Elisha forced the two to ally with each other. they began launching raids against the kingdom of Judea. And King Ahaz turned to the then prophet Isaiah and asked him what to do. Isaiah said to look for God for help. But Ahaz, who was one of Judah's bad kings, instead of looking to God, he saw a, quote, better opportunity and went to the rising Assyrian Empire and said, hey, if you conquer these two states, I will submit to you. Sure thing. So that's what he did. The fact that Ahaz turned away from Isaiah turning to God for help was what was against God's wishes. He wanted Ahaz to turn to him rather than make the alliance. Let me put it this way. In my opinion, if Ahaz had turned to God, Judea remained independent of Assyria and probably wasn't under their subordination anymore. So, since I had to skip the section on the prophets, let's jump into the Persian Empire. Specifically, one specific part, Esther. There is a disclaimer I must point out. According to certain websites I've gone to, historians believe that the story of Esther didn't happen. Christian, why do you say that? Why are you saying that historians don't believe that the book of Esther actually happened? I'm not saying that. Look it up for yourself. That's what some historians are saying. Personally, I don't believe that. I believe that the book of Esther, the story, happened, just not in the way that the writer portrayed it in. That's why I didn't go into the specific details on who was Esther at all. I just said the facts. Why is that story not in historical text? I can't answer that question. I just can't. As a side note, the facts that say this couldn't have happened is that Persian kings didn't marry outside of 4 noble families. So for the last part of this video, nothing really to say. I didn't really exactly get anything wrong. I just had to tell this story in my own personal way based off of the calculations I made. And, well, alright, that's all I have for you on these 2 videos. Time for some announcements. First off, if any of you who are wondering why I'm wearing this shirt that says Dollywood on it, it's because by the time of this video's release on December 9th, I will be traveling to Dollywood in Sevierville, Tennessee. So that's why I can't be here on the published date. Alright, so time for the big announcement. There's no easy way to say this, but this is actually an announcement for my YouTube channel. I'll probably do a separate video. I don't know. But in 2026, there are going to be some changes to my YouTube channel. I can't say definitely what's going to happen. I am currently in a changing period in my life, so I don't know if my history videos will come out twice a year, once a year on my birthday, or if it'll stay the same. It's just lately I'm feeling that I am forced to do these videos rather than enjoying doing it. So I'm just saying that up front. But there are going to be some changes to my schedule on making these history videos, and because I'm just concerned for time to make these videos, time when I want to make these videos. I'm just saying that up front. I'm sorry, but that's going to be the outcome. And anyway, for my YouTube channel specifically, videos may get cut to one every other week. So 26 videos bi-weekly, 26 videos a year rather than 52. And I'll probably keep special videos coming out on holidays. Posts, definitely. I'll try to keep up that. But there are going to be some changes in 2026. I'm sorry, but that's what's going to I hope y'all have enjoyed me talking about these two videos and for my announcement. I hope you understand on the announcement. I'll see y'all in 2026. Enjoy Christmas, everybody. Thanks for watching this video. Don't forget to like this video, subscribe to my channel, and check me out over on Patreon. The link is in the description.